Welcome. Here we go with our shortstop player profiles and projections using Steamer, of course, like always. We're gonna do shortstop today, and something to know about shortstop is it looks like it's the shallowest position, um, in fantasy. I mean, you can still see some people might be a little optimistic and say, "Oh, Jose Reyes, he's still good," or Alexi Ramirez, he's still good. Starlin Castro, he's coming up. But when you look at it, the top three guys are ridiculously better than the next guys. So my strategy for him would be to just grab one of the good guys, preferably Desmond because he's the one who doesn't get injured and he's on a walk year, and just run. If you do want to draft one of the bottom guys like Jose Reyes, Starlin Castro, or anyone else, definitely try to draft the backup, Xander Bogaerts or something else like that, because it can get bad. Or Johnny Peralta, somebody that's gonna be steady for the year. Because even then, if you draft the Tulowitzki, he's got his injury history as well, so you might still want to draft the Xander Bogaerts there too. Here we go with our profiles. The first guy is Troy Tulowitzki. Tulowitzki is very, very injury prone, but when he plays, he is by far a huge plus for your team. If a healthy Tulowitzki is playing on your team at shortstop, you have a huge advantage over anyone just because of how much more power and average he has. The same could be said for Hanley Ramirez, and he's just as much an injury risk. He does have a new home now. He is in Boston. He is taking on the monster now, so maybe he turns it back on. But these two guys, as much as I like them, I probably would have ranked Desmond first if they weren't so good. I mean, Desmond, our third guy, Ian Desmond, is in his walk year, and he's had 3 straight seasons of 20 home runs, 20 stolen bases, which is huge. I mean, that is just money in the bank when it comes to fantasy. The next guy is Jose Reyes, and here's where it starts trending down a little bit, especially in the home run department, as you can see by the red numbers. Jose Reyes is on the other side of 30. He still steals and he still hits, but he's a little bit injury prone. And that's his one knock. You want him for his steals, but you can't steal if you're injured. Next guy had a huge year last year. He put everything together. He just stat padded, stat stuffed, everything. That's Alexi Ramirez. He had a career best season, the total package a year, but he'd been terrible for 2 years straight. So I mean, what can you say about that? He still ranks really high, but that just says more about the position than it does about how good he is in reality. Starlin Castro, the fucking guy is allergic to walks. He hits. He's a 300 hitter. He's done it before. He did bounce back from his bad 2013 year, and he just loves to swing. Another guy, Elvis Andrus, has an atrocious contract, but that doesn't matter because this is fantasy. There's not much upside with him if you draft him. I mean, you're hoping he hits. He has a good average and he steals bases because he's not going to give you very much in home runs and RBIs, and that it puts you at a disadvantage. Like I said, if you're going to draft an Elvis Andrus as your starting shortstop, you better draft Miggy and 2 other super stud 30 home run guys, because you're gonna need those home runs from those other positions for sure. Jim Rollins had a pretty good year. He's in LA now. He's playing for the Dodgers. Still plays good defense, which doesn't really matter. He's back in the top 10, and like I said, that just says more about the position than it does about Jimmy Rollins. Jimmy Rollins was a great player. He isn't a great player anymore, but he's still top 10 at his position. Next guy is Alcides Escobar. Alcides is pretty much a Elvis Andrus clone. You want him to do good in average and steal bases, and pretty much if he doesn't do either or, you have to just toss him and go to the wire because there's nothing going on. By far, Ivar is probably one of the most consistent shortstops in the bottom half of this list. He is 31 with very little pop, and he's pretty mediocre at every stat. But I mean, that's fine when you're comparing him to other people, especially if people get injured. This guy is Xander Bogaerts. He's a post-hype sleeper. He's probably one of my favorite shortstops just because he has power and it's pretty cheap. But if you look at it, he's probably he's projected to be a Johnny Peralta, almost identical numbers, and that Johnny Peralta is a just nice player. I mean, he does just a little bit of everything. He does hit for power, which is good. And he doesn't really hurt you in average, even though I have it read. It's still pretty. If he is 260, you're fine, which he probably will. Danny Santana is my last player. He had a huge breakout last year. Pretty much everyone knew his name, and he looks to continue it. He hit above 300, but he doesn't really project as an over 300 guy because his BABIP was, I think, almost 400. It was like ridiculous, or maybe over 400. The speed is there though, which you might want. As with all these guys, there's speed there. So if you really want to do good, you get a guy like Ian Desmond or Hanley Ramirez, where there is speed and power, meaning you get both, and that puts you at a huge advantage. Anyways, that is our shortstop profiles video. Thank you for watching. I'd like to thank my subscribers again. Thank you very much. I love people subscribe. I love when people watch. I love when people leave comments and tell me how I'm doing. Hopefully you guys enjoy these videos, and thanks for watching. Thank you very much for watching.